Hey everybody, welcome to the Movie Goers podcast. My name is Jordan. You can find me on socials at Jordy B Writing,
And I'm Darius. You can find me on socials at D's All Up in Your Area.
and we'll be reviewing Rounders today. This movie was released on September 11th, 1998. It stars Matt Damon, Edward Norton, John Malkovich, John Turturro, Gretchen Mol, and Famke Janssen. The plot synopsis is as follows: Mike McDermott, played by Matt Damon, loses his money in a poker game against Russian gangster Teddy KGB, played by John Malkovich. Under pressure from his girlfriend Joe, played by Gretchen Mol, he promises to quit gambling. This lasts until his friend Lester (parentheses Worm) Murphy, played by Edward Norton, gets out of prison and needs to pay off an old debt. The pair come close to earning the money back, but were caught cheating. Then Mike finds out that the debt is owed to Teddy and makes one last-ditch effort to beat the Russian.
We're gonna start it off with Act One, the setup. That's where we meet Mike McDermott. That is Matt Damon's character. He's a gifted young poker player who has given up the game to pursue law school. He's trying to live a stable life, focusing on his studies and his girlfriend. And we're gonna toss it to you.
All right. So my first impression or thoughts whenever I watched the movie, and also just thinking back on it as a first time viewer, is the opening sequence is like flawless. I think the way it generates intrigue,
Yes.
while also maintaining simplicity. Because it
It
starts out, it's the dark of night. This dude is walking around his apartment, getting scrap money from all his hiding
well, it
places.
was 30 bands. That ain't no
Yeah,
scrap
well,
money.
yeah, not scrap money, but yeah, he's just got mad hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars
Yeah.
in VCR cases and in bookcases and cigar boxes and stuff like and humidors and whatnot. And you just like start to watch and you're like, okay, who is this guy? What the hell is he doing? Is he about to go like pay somebody off? Is he being blackmailed? Is he a drug dealer? You're like, is he having an affair? Which the answer in a way is yes, because poker is his first love. And then also like I like the way it's shot, the way you don't see his face for like the first 3 minutes of the movie because
Yeah.
everything's like kind of obscure. He's in the shadow, he's wearing a hat, he's walking through the smog, and so it looks like he's like almost like a ghost or some like mythical figure, which I think is super really cool. Also like the jazz element of the score in the movie was a perfect choice to me because poker at the time was viewed as this like seedy underworld,
Yes.
gothic type thing,
It was
and
what you flew
jazz,
to Vegas to do and you left it there.
right,
Uh,
and jazz kind of had the same connotation when it was first incepted.
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my opening impressions of the movie.
Let me just say the iconic line, iconic in all poker sphere. If you don't spot the sucker within the first 30 minutes at the table, you
Is
are the
you.
sucker. Which it's
Yeah,
it's a big campy. It's not all the way true, but
right,
it is lived on in poker lore for I mean it's just an iconic line.
correct. There's a lot of great
Um
one-liners in this movie.
it was, man. Women are in the poker game of life, women
Life,
are the
women are the
rake.
rake. Another one, if you're too careful, your whole life can be a fucking grind.
It's immoral to let a sucker keep his money.
That one is one of my favorites. Uh, we can't run from who we are. I love
Yeah.
that line too. Yeah, the writing is fucking phenomenal in this film.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's a reason why we stay in the 90s with these movies.
Yeah,
Because again, they're showing, they're not telling.
right.
Um, and yeah, so yeah, that was a great iconic opening. I do it's just he you never gamble with your whole bankroll like that.
Right, yeah, he just blew everything.
And especially pushing
But he
all
did
in.
almost have him though. He had him,
He
he almost
did,
had him.
but even if you had, I mean, the way KGB played that hand, it was obvious he had. I mean, well, it's easy for me to say it's obvious. I could see the situation, but
Right.
it's just you don't play that hand any other way unless you have the stone cold nuts, and the nuts is shorthand for the best hand possible with the five cards revealed. So if
Right.
like you know, it was clear Teddy KGB had the nuts, which is with the five cards on the board, this is the best
Mhm.
hand possible. He can
Yeah.
only hold these two cards. And Mike's character had the second nuts, which is, I mean, every poker
Correct.
player's had a situation where they had the second best hand and lost a lot of money, which is why they tell you don't gamble with your whole bankroll because,
Right.
Mike didn't play that hand poorly. He just ran into terrible luck, and which is why you don't have your whole net worth on the table. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah. Um, got a
Yeah, no, that
question?
was a big mistake. Yeah, so it's getting a little ahead in the storyline for the first act, but um so he after he goes to pick up Worm from prison and then they kind of go gambling
Yes.
and he stays out all night
It's like
and
your
then
buddy
he
bringing crack rocks to
right and then he's
when
and then he's like late
you're
for
sober.
class. Yeah, then he's late for class.
You can see him slipping.
Yeah, and then when he gets back home and all the stuff's gone, do you think? Oh no, actually, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. So the first night out, goes out with Worm. They go out gambling. He comes back home late in the morning, like six,
Correct.
7 a.m., whatever, and he goes to shower before they go to class. And she goes through his stuff to look for whatever she was looking for.
Yeah.
Do you think she was wrong to go through his shit?
Yes. I mean that's a massive invasion of privacy. Regardless of if I ever been in a place where I'm going through a woman's stuff, I'm just leaving.
Yeah,
I would just never do that.
right.
Let me throw it back on you. Do you think she would have rather have found out he was having an affair than actually playing poker again?
I think she actually would have preferred
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
cheating, dead ass.
correct.
She literally was like, "You could have just told me you were at a strip club, and I
Yeah.
would be like."
Because ultimately, this is also a movie about addiction.
Well, see, that's the thing. It is about addiction,
Yeah.
but I don't think that Mike was addicted. I
Oh, I do.
think, well, to me, here's why I don't think he was addicted because when he went to go drop those papers off to his professor and he came in across the judges game where they're all playing and smoking
Yeah.
cigars and shit. If he was really an act, he would not have been able to help himself. He would have sat down at that table.
One, I don't think you could get a seat at that table.
Fair.
Two, so that was I mean, obviously, I'm not an
I
addiction
think Worm
expert.
was definitely an addict.
Worm was just a degenerate.
Well, that too, and a shitty friend.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to
We'll get to that.
that.
But no, so I think that was the beginning of his addictive behavior, right? So like
Right.
that is the I'm clean and sober, but I'm gonna try a non-alcoholic beer of poker
Gotcha.
playing. It's just
That's
like
valid.
you
I'm
miss
not
the
mad at that.
taste. Sooner or later,
Yeah.
you're gonna miss the feeling that comes with it.
Right.
And I'm not judging people who drink non-alcoholic beers, but it's clearly, I see a lot of dry January posts where people are just drinking fake booze all week, all some month, and I'm like, that doesn't really count. But no, so I do think he had a problem. And
Mhm.
the way the movie shows him it was a bit abrupt. It was a bit fast,
Yeah.
but it starts with him at the judge's game where he's just like dipping his toe in and he's seeing the cards. And
Yeah.
then Worm gets out and he's like, "Oh, fine, I'll go, you just need a steak." But then he's gonna
Right.
wait in the car and wait. And then another great line, I got it all lined up. I just need a steak. It's a play on the word. Steak is the food, but the stake to play the game.
Right.
Stake. Um, and so so that's just like, okay, I'm gonna wait in the car, but then the tables call him. And so he's
Yeah.
walking back in. And then he plays for a little bit, and then it's just like he takes Worm to the underground game, and
Right.
then it's just you slowly see him slipping back in. And I
Fair.
think
That's valid.
the way he was sitting in that car and the tables literally called him, and Worm knew he was coming anyway.
Right.
Um, no, I definitely think Mike was an addict, but it's a lot like
Yeah.
another movie review, Menace to Society, where Kane was terrible, but next to O-Dog, he looked like a saint. And it's
That's a
like
good
Mike McDermott
comparison.
was
That's a
a
good
degenerate
comparison.
gambler, but he was next to Worm, he looked like an
The
upstanding law
regular
student.
guy. So let me ask you this. Do you think that Mike was almost addicted to trying to save Worm? Do you think that was an element of the cards? Like him calling to the cards
Yes,
calling to him all the time?
I do. I do think there's clearly a soft spot for him because Worm was in prison, partly
Yeah.
because of Mike. Um, but I've been around degenerate gamblers.
Yeah.
Mike's a degenerate gambler. Like, first of all, one random night taking your whole bankroll to that's
To the like
you
basically the
know
czar of poker in New
correct.
York.
And it's just like I used to play poker in my back when I lived in Minnesota. That was
Yeah.
actually my first observation is I miss poker more than I miss anything about Minnesota. And I remember going there with I had $200 in my account and I'd withdraw like 180 to play poker. And it's just like the stakes were way lower because they were only talking about a couple $100 and
Right.
I didn't have the responsibilities that I have now. So I could
Yeah.
gamble my whole check away or whatever, but it didn't matter. But I know that feeling when you're sitting in the car and like
Hmm.
you bust out of the game early and you all carpooled there to the casino because it's 30 minutes away and you're in the
Right.
car and you're just like texting people to ask to borrow $40 so you can get back to the table. That's just
Yeah.
gambling addiction.
I feel you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Mike had a problem for sure.
Okay.
So my question to you is, and we're not gonna use any names because we're, we're releasing these things, but did you have a loser friend growing up? Did you have a worm?
Uh, trying to think of the best example. Yeah, I definitely did.
Your parents were right about him, weren't they?
Actually, I don't even know if this friend actually got to the point where my parents met them.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you this. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the story about the loser friend that my parents did kind of have suspicions about. So,
Keep in mind, if you need us to bleep, just put it in the chat.
no, you're good. I'm not gonna say any names. I'll
Fair
just
enough.
say, I had a friend. We had a creative project together, similar to this, if you can pick up what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And it's one of those things where you just kind of everyone saw it but me. Like everyone saw that they did not have good intentions for me, that they had some sort of underlying like I don't know, resentment or whatever the word is for me. I can't speak to their feelings. Obviously, I'm not them, but um, and I couldn't see it. And there were people who would like, watch and support the project that we had, and they never met the person, and they would like randomly tell me like we'd be hanging out. They'd be like, "Hey, by the way, I listened to or checked out your project, whatever." Fuck, I'll call it. We had a podcast, and anyway, they were
Correct.
podcast partners, and they were like, "Yeah, I heard your podcast. I don't like that one host, that one co-host. I didn't know, and I had two co-hosts, so I didn't know which one they were talking. And then I was like,
Nick,
"Do you know
you
the?"
knew you
Well, fair, fair. I did, I
you knew
did,
damn well who
I
they was talking
did, I
about.
did. And they're like, yeah, that one co-host. I don't know their name, but I don't like them. I don't like the way they talk to you. I don't like them. They don't let you get shit off. I don't like it. The dynamic. I don't know. I'm not fucking with it. Like I had like three or four different people say that to me, um, who've never even met the person, whatever. And then fast forward 6 to 8 months later, I just kind of put together all this like shady shit they had done behind my back. Like they tried to like turn friends against me because I was holding them accountable for being a shitty friend to me.
Yeah.
Um, saying inappropriate things about like my relationship, shit like that.
This is a
Y-
dude
yeah, yeah.
hopping in
I
your
can,
relationships. You
yeah. To give you the full story, we got to talk offline, but
correct. We can move
um,
on. We can move on.
yeah, but yeah, so I basically I came to and I cut them off and have not spoken to or seen them in like 5 years. So yeah,
I got one more. Well, I wanted to play off that question again. Um, but we're so all right. I'll just has
yeah.
there ever been a woman that your friends and family were like, nah, but you were like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just like,
100%.
man, I got so
So
many of those.
there were two specifically. One one of them it was more so like they kind of realized after the fact because I was keeping
Yeah,
a lot of shit like internal, and then once they kind of knew the boundaries that that person was crossing and making comments and stuff like that, um, they they realized that then. But the one before that, my mom, that's like moms know. I
yeah.
remember after the fact, I talked to my mom about the girl, and I was like, she did this, she's this, and this, and my mom's like, oh, I know, 100%, I know. But she was like, you need to go through that, and some shit you just got to experience for yourself. So I just kind of had to let you.
The thing about uh you reach like in your younger years you try to intervene, but I'm at the age now where I know ain't shit you can tell two people in love.
Yeah,
Forget it, don't try
right.
it. They're
And that's
not gonna
kind of where
listen.
she was at. That's where my mom was at, and she
There's
was right.
nothing you can do until
There's
that
nothing
high,
you can.
until they come down from that
Yeah,
high, you're
man.
wasting your breath. Like there's nothing you can tell two
There's
people in
nothing
love.
that can be done.
You're wasting.
Yeah,
You're just
because you're gonna
wasting
look
your
like an
breath.
asshole. Because
Yeah,
you're
and
gonna look
they're
like an
just
asshole.
they're rolling in the sheets. It's fresh. They're not listening to anything you're gonna tell them.
Not at all.
Um, do you have anything else for the segment?
Um, yeah. So yes, one last thing, one or two. So I love that one thing I think that or analogy I'd like to make about poker is it's very similar to boxing in the
Yes.
way it's a lot about strategy. It's about reading the man, not so much who can hit the hardest or who has the best cards. It's about, the mental stamina, playing the long game, things of that nature. And I like that. the way the movie kind of catered to that was if you notice in a lot of the poker scenes, if there was a TV in the room, there was usually boxing on in the background. I don't know if
I
you
did not
noticed
notice
that.
that. I didn't notice
Um,
that.
yeah, in the whenever they were at Teddy KGB's place, there was always boxing on in the background.
And Teddy KGB did a little boxing thingamajig too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
They
he
set
did.
up and um, yeah, I remember. Okay, I'm into that. I didn't even notice that. So ready to get into this act two?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, so act two, we got the confrontation and the flight. I think they mean
Fight.
fight there. Mike, desperate to repay his debt, explores all possible avenues, including borrowing money from his law school professor. He faces increasing pressure from grandma and the threat of violence. Throwing it to you.
All right. So my first takeaway, it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Is where Mike slash Matt Damon goes to visit his professor to like apologize for missing class that day,
Yeah.
and where he tells him that story about I was groomed to be a rabbi, my whole family is a rabbi, and I come from a long line of rabbis. And he's like, I knew the uh damn, what's the Jewish word for Bible? I'm tripping. Torah?
Torah.
Torah, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He's like, I knew it front to back and this, that, and the third, but he said, in all that time I spent in the synagogue, I never once saw God or felt God or thought I knew God. In
Yeah.
essence, saying I could do the mechanics, but it wasn't in my heart to do this thing. But the law called to me like nothing else. And I love that story and the way he phrased it and just the way he kind of was telling him without telling him while also not judging him. That hey, yeah, this might not be for you, and I think you know it, and there's no shame in admitting that.
Yeah.
Also his professor just was a real one. Like he was like very much the mentor that a lot of us would have liked to probably have had at some point in life, or a lot of people would like to have had at some point in life. Um, and of course, he had that great one-liner. Like we said earlier, we can't run from who we are.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's actually one of my qualms with the movie.
okay.
Um, but I'm gonna throw a question back to you. Does poetry call you the same way poker called Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
does.
All right.
And
Fair
and
enough.
that's actually why I
Have you had a professorial like figure give
mhm.
you that speech?
um yes, I have. And I've also had it more so from just people in the community. Like they'll just kind of be like, hey, like I really think you like this is really like your gift here.
Yeah.
Like make sure to foster that. Like you know, don't stray from that. Like don't, it's easy to get jaded about a creative endeavor and it's easy to um get busy with life and just kind of let it pass you by.
Yeah.
And don't do that, it reminds me a lot of this. One of my favorite Will Smith quotes is there's no point in having a plan A because it distracts from plan B. Not saying I don't have plan B, obviously, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just the mentality of devoting all your energy to your craft and to mastering your craft and going full tilt, because otherwise, what the hell's the point?
I agree. Although I will say Will Smith was probably rich as a teenager. Like what
Well,
like
yeah,
women's
fair,
parents just
fair,
don't understand. Like
valid.
he was rich before. Well, he was famous before Fresh Prince. I think Fresh Prince made him
Yeah,
rich.
true.
Um,
Well, he was rich and then he lost it all because IRS took everything and then he got it back
Gotta pay
afterward.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
No, I guess so. That's one of my problems with the movie. It's
Mhm.
like so. My first observation is watching it as an adult versus when I watched it as a young adult.
Right.
As an adult, I think so. It's like all I agree with everyone advising Mike to be a grown to stop this shit and like go and like go you're in law school like you're gonna be a lawyer and you're gonna this is before you're gonna go sit in seedy casinos in Vegas and play and try to scratch out one big bet an hour. Is
Yeah,
that I mean does Kanish's life look great to you like
fair.
you know
That's actually a good point.
and it just
Although he
kind
was
of
more of
like
a,
go ahead.
I think the difference between Kanish and Mike was that Mike was willing to risk it. I think
Yes,
that's the difference too, though. So like, to me, if you're gonna do it, at least like, you know, go all
correct.
out with it. Not blow your whole fucking savings, of course, but if you're gonna do it,
S-
do it.
More than one big bet an hour. Um,
Right.
and so I kind of wasn't feeling the message that Mike could defy all of this good advice and it
Mhm.
work out for him. And like his professor is like, yeah, fuck this shit, go chase your dreams. And
Yeah,
there was some consequences, don't get me wrong. And at the end, he
for
is just
sure.
driving to Vegas. You don't know if he's gonna make it or not, but
Right.
it's amazing to me how, as a youngin watching it, I thought everyone was his girlfriend was a nag, Kanish was an annoying older brother, and
Yeah,
his classmates are wrong for being mad at him for missing class. And it's just
yeah.
like, I mean, how would you feel if half these recordings I just didn't show up? You know,
Oh yeah,
like,
yes.
I
We would
mean,
have some words.
yeah, like it's a group project,
I'd be
and
like, yo,
you're in
Nick,
law
I mean,
school
yo, dog, what
and
the
you're
fuck?
out playing poker all night and you're missing we have to present in front of this judge and you're not here
Yeah.
and no, like watching it as an adult, I'm just I find myself siding with everyone but Mike, and good Lord, Worm, you got to get rid of that kid, man.
Yeah, no, fuck, yeah, no, fuck Worm. I mean, I get you. That's completely valid. But I will say one thing. I was just doing my research. Watched a lot of interviews and stuff today. Um, and I saw an interview where a famous poker player. I couldn't find his name in the comments or anything, but he
Black,
said like
white, what?
he was white. He was bald or balding. Um, it might have been Peter Holy. Is that his name?
Oh,
The
Pete
dude who won a
Helmuth,
lot.
Phil Helmuth.
That's it.
Yeah,
It might have been him, but I'm really not
I
sure.
didn't know he was bald, but if it's
I just
Phil,
cannot. Let me see. How do you spell his name? Phil
he's not bald. Phil Helmuth.
something. World
This
Series of
isn't
Poker.
great audio, but we can keep
But
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah. So Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might not be him. But yeah. So he said around that time period when the movie came out, I was in my early or mid 30s, and I was like pursuing my poker dreams, and that movie helped my friends and family understand what I was doing and why I was doing it. Because if you tell someone I'm gonna gamble for a living, they're gonna think you're on crack, right? So, but to see kind
My
of,
mom thought
it's
I was down at the casino smoking crack, like
yeah, yeah. Like
coming in our house at 4 o'clock in the morning with
yeah,
$12 in my pocket. Because
right.
between 18 and 21, that's all you could do. You couldn't go out, so we just
True.
went to the casino.
Yeah, so and I remember like so the guy was like, yeah, my family could kind of better understand what I was doing. It's not just me in some dark room with fucking
Yeah.
strippers and or whatever they thought was going on in those rooms, you know.
Well, I will
Um,
say that the movie that is honestly what, but in the late 90s,
yeah,
in this is in New Jersey,
yeah,
where I mean you can go to Atlantic City and get a real card game, but if you're
hmm
playing local games, you're hustling in shitty rooms with no
right.
security. Um, that's actually was closer to the reality than
Oh, for sure, yeah.
casino playing. But
But one thing well, an interesting point though, or parallel that was made. So I watched it since we're talking like just dreams and stuff like that. I was watching an interview with Matt Damon, and he said, he really related to Mike, the character he played in the movie. He was like, because pursuing a career in acting is the same shit. Like people think
yeah,
you're an idiot or crazy or stupid or, for pursuing something in a, it's not the most stable. Obviously, it's not a stable income, or it's kind of like
not
the most
stable at all,
unstable,
man.
it's the most unstable income, and stuff like that. And he's like, it's pretty much the same thing with us. Like, him, I don't know if you know his story, but him and Ben Affleck and Ben's little brother, they moved out to LA together
Yeah.
after they graduated, and it was just three dudes in an apartment just hustling, for 3, 4 years until they got Good Will Hunting made. And
I know two or three people from Minnesota who moved out to LA, maybe two people who moved out to
mhm,
LA and they ain't doing that was 10 years ago and I ain't seen them in
yeah,
nothing. So I mean
yeah,
they a
it's a
lot more
hard
people
it's a
fail
hard
than
field.
you
A
you
hundred
you know. You
percent.
just never hear about them.
Right.
No, they just stay in LA and live life. They
Yeah.
don't they don't they don't return home. They don't make a big announcement.
hmm
They just move to LA to become an actor, and then 10 years later, they're just a resident of LA.
Right.
And so, so what else you got?
Let me see. Oh, so the scene where he comes back to his apartment and his girlfriend took her shit and left.
Women are the rake in life.
So I love the part where he's just sitting there, he's like depressed, and Worm is like, you know what make you feel good right now?
Rolled up sixes.
Rolled up sixes. And so I was gonna
Tech
say,
stacked to the fucking
yeah,
ceiling. You can't even see over
yeah.
them.
I was gonna make the point. Nothing's better than going out with the guys after you've lost all fucks.
Correct. 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 That is,
Like you thought you was gonna marry this girl, and
yeah. And that pain is like right here,
and
and
then
it's
you're
not
like,
going
and
anywhere.
then you hit up the group chat. We back outside, and that's all you have to
Yeah.
say.
And you're not all the way back. You're in the club miserable, but at
Yeah, you're
least you're
brokenhearted.
you're
And you're
posted
doing
up like just there's just noise around you,
yeah,
and
and
it's
you're
better
doing
than your living
everything
room.
you can to not text her.
Oh man, well, yeah, I have a system for that, but
Yeah, and Marvin's Room is playing in your head.
I listened to Take Care at the Gym today. Really great album.
It's a great album.
We've overcorrected a bit on Drake. He had a run, like a
No, he
decade
did.
run.
He did. He's going on like a complete bitch right now, but he had a run.
Correct. But no, that is I've had a few times where I was, it's always best for you to get dragged out of the crib when you're not
Yeah,
feeling well.
100%.
That was a good scene though. He was like he's like check stacked to the fucking ceiling. I can't even see over it. He's like, let's go play some cards. Where did they go? That when they went to AC?
Yeah, they went to AC. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
then they all hustled those two dudes that were like there for like some sort of work conference or
Yeah,
whatever.
and so they sat down at the,
Um,
the the girl who was a card table that they knew,
yeah,
and it was just they just
chill and then yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wish we had some of that here. They're
I
building
know,
something
man.
in Danville.
Yeah, I think they already built it. I think I won't say their names, but one of our
Right.
boys from, I think he said he went up there already, said it was really nice.
I thought they did a soft opening. I didn't know it was open
Oh, was it
open.
saw? I think it's
Uh,
open. Only problem is it's in Danville, and if you've ever been there, it's like it's just not there's nothing there but like roads and people with AKs because there's nothing else to do. Like
that's why they
it's
have to build casinos because no one wants that
yeah,
shit in their neighborhood.
true.
Like, yes, they're not gonna put it in next to PNC Arena.
Right.
Um,
Um, oh shit. So the scene where he comes into the mock trial after being out all night gambling with Worm, that was the height of secondhand embarrassment.
yes,
Like
yes. Why show up?
what?
It's over.
Yeah, man. I'd have been like, I died.
The girl has left you already. You
Or
you
is about
quit.
to leave you.
No, I
Yeah.
think that was after.
No, I
Because
think you're right. Yeah, I think you might be right.
that was the first time he had seen her after she had emptied out the apartment.
No, yeah, you're right. She had left. She had left already.
And
Yeah, you
and then
lost
he
your
didn't.
girl.
Why
You
did you
just
show
lost
face
that.
for
You,
this?
you just lost that internship now too.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
you
you
trying
just
to
quit
that you
law
were gutted
school
for. Yeah, you pretty much quit law school.
because
The
you are a
day
gambling addict.
the day Worm got out of jail, you quit law school.
Yeah, pretty much. Driving that truck.
Yep. But I'm not gonna hold you. Them going from game to game after they had to try to pay grandma back their
Yeah,
his money. That shit did look fun. It looked
it
like a
looks like a
lot of
great
it looked
time.
like a rush. It looked like fun. You just chilling, hanging out with the guys, making money, losing money. I'm sure it was a good time. Well, it's stressful, obviously, but
I
you got to
mean,
make 25 grand in 5 days or whatever it was. But
without sleeping.
yeah, with no sleep.
And you have to find the games. It's not like you can go to casino and just play. You have to
Right.
you have to find games. You have to let them play. The games have to be worth your time. And you have to
True.
win.
Facts.
That was a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Every
And
game was
Worm
game
blew
7.
it. Worm blew it, getting jumped by some
Dog,
cops.
I'm not gonna hold you. I probably would have beat his ass again after that.
I
You just got me
mean,
jumped by a bunch of cops, and we lost all our money, and now we're about to die because you could not cheat for 2 hours.
well, I mean, in Worm's defense, which I can't believe I'm saying those words, they were never going to make 25 grand in 5 days without cutting some corners.
Oh, that's fair. But at
Not
least be
playing
decent
poker.
at it.
Yeah, not don't get caught.
Yeah,
And well, he was throwing away good hands just to make it not obvious. Like Worm was reckless with it.
true,
Um, but honestly, in that situation, the best thing that could happen to them was getting beat up because those cops could have had them tied up in all kinds of legal issues. Even
true.
though the game was illegal, I mean, good
Hmm.
luck. You know,
Right.
going to
With
war
a
with
room
the
full of like
police.
what, 20 cops in New
50,
York.
they beat the
Yeah,
shit out them, man.
they beat the shit out of
They are
them.
lucky. That's all they did, and they
Yeah,
left them alone. But they took
because
all their money, which was probably a couple,
fair.
like 10 bands. So
Yeah. I think they'd had 10 at that point, I want to say. Um, yeah. Uh, Also the camera work in this movie was really, really good. The way it helped with the storytelling, like
Yeah.
when Worm came into the game with the cops and they zoom in on Matt Damon's face where he's
Yeah.
realizing, oh shit, I'm so fucked right now. Like he's like, oh no.
Do you think this movie gets made today?
Yeah, I think it can get made today.
Well, okay.
Well, you know what? No.
We can't use
No.
today's star power. Night
No, no.
like
Well, I'm saying no because of the genre of movie.
yeah.
Because nowadays that'd be considered like an indie,
Yeah.
and
It
those
would go
aren't
straight to
really.
Netflix and it'd be terrible.
Yeah, like A24 could make that.
Yeah.
You know.
I know I'm beating a dead horse on these reviews that the movies used to be better, and that's because they movies like this just couldn't be made today. There's no
Yeah.
catch, there's no pre-existing IT,
Uh, IP.
IP, and
Yeah.
there's star power, but it wasn't what it is now. You know, it would
Right.
be, but you know, we can go on to Act Three before I go into my, you know,
Yeah.
same old rants. So we got Act Three, climax and resolution. Mike, driven by desperation and desire for revenge, challenges Teddy KGB, to a high-stakes poker game. The tension mounts as the game progresses, with Mike facing immense pressure from Teddy's intimidating presence. Let me just say, before we even get going,
Yeah.
no one is turning down a one-night stand from Famke Janssen.
No, no,
It's
no.
never happening.
You
Regardless of
do
how
not
stressed out
turn
you
down
are,
you do not turn down Jean Grey
no.
when she's doing a
No
New York
matter
accent.
how stressed you are, you got 15 to 20 minutes. Um,
Yeah, no, you do. Yeah,
I
for sure.
mean, you already
She,
lost everything.
yeah, you lost everything. You lost your girl. She's not coming back. You have Storm. I mean, Storm. Lord jeez, Jean Grey. You have an ex-woman in your
Yeah.
room begging to, spend the night with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go ahead and take that opportunity.
Watching
Um,
Johnny Chan. Uh,
reruns.
I had forgot that Worm ran up his tab at the underground joint
Yeah,
too.
that's right. Yeah,
Worm
she
was
really did look.
terrible.
She really did look out for him because
Yeah.
yeah, she could have had
Well,
him
because
all
she had a
jammed up.
crush on him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because remember she said the juice was what, 5 grand a day or something? What was
Yeah.
it, 500 a day,
Well,
something
I
like
think it
that.
was like 5%
Yeah,
or
oh, that's
something
what,
like that.
5%. Yeah,
But I mean, why are you playing on credit, you know?
yeah, it's just stupid. Even when he wouldn't give the two grand back, he's like, just give me the whole 10.
Yeah. And even Kanish came and told him like he's cheating them too on your name.
Yeah,
Um, and
it's
then
the
at the end,
worst.
Worm disappeared on him. Didn't even stay to the
Yeah,
Judgment Day.
yeah, Worm was the worst.
God, he's just terrible for him.
Um, yeah, that was terrible. And Matt Damon was out of his mind for sure because that girl was not coming back.
No, no, no. It was all well. I mean, he ended up paying everybody back. Um,
Yeah,
and hitting the road to
Vegas.
Vegas. Would you have kept playing with Teddy KGB after you got out?
Second,
After you were back in the black for the first time in a
yeah,
week? You spent
yeah,
a week chasing your tail, trying to get
yeah,
out of all of this debt. You're finally back in the black.
yeah. And he's talking shit, and you're asking me if I'm going to go back.
I'm too
You
risk
know me,
averse,
so I know
man.
you know me, so I know you know that the answer is yes.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
let it
back.
ride.
I don't know, man. I think I would go back.
Oh
Well,
no,
because
I'm
remember,
leave. I
he's
would
still,
leave for
yo, yeah,
sure.
you would leave. I'm
Yes.
going back because you talking shit, and plus, remember, he still needed more money to pay his professor back anyway, so you would have had to make however much money back too.
The
So
people that break bones, I'm even with. Professor's not gonna break my bones. He's gonna say he might
yeah,
sue me,
true.
but I'm not in any physical harm.
Fair. You're not
So
wrong, and you're making the logical choice, and it is very rational.
yeah,
But I'm a gunslinger, and also you was talking shit, and I already just beat you, so I know I can beat you. So
yeah.
fuck yeah, we're running it back.
Now, was that before or after he knew the tell?
It was
It was after he got the tell because he broke
yeah,
the
I think it was after
Oreo
he
and he
got
freaked out, and then he
yeah, it was
kept
after. I
playing.
think it was after he got the tell. Yeah,
Yeah.
so after I figured you out, and you know I figured you out. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of your money.
True to gangster form, though, Teddy KGB said, "Pay that man his
Hey,
money.
that man, his
He
money.
beat me fair and square. Pay that man his money." Because
Nah,
that's the poker honor, man. Like you
yeah,
lost it, you got to
that's
pay.
actually so classic. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. So, Matt Damon tells a story about John Malkovich when they were shooting that movie, where John Malkovich just kind of wanted to show him how like when you get famous people just kiss your ass, and
yeah,
it's hard to stay great. So, for the first couple scenes or hours of the day when they were shooting those scenes, John Malkovich was like he was like overacting and being like really really bad, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is so good! Like you're so great." And he leans over and whispers to Matt Damon. He's like, dude, I'm the worst actor ever. Like he's just fucking with me,
Okay.
like, look at this. Like I'm giving them dog shit, and they're like acting like it's caviar. And he's just trying to teach them, like, hey, like when you get big, stay humble and keep people around you that will tell you the truth. Um, but he did great in that movie. John Malkovich is one of the best character actors of all time. Um, he's just great in everything.
Not gonna hold you. I don't know who he is outside of this movie.
Um, he's
Name me
in
some
like,
movies.
have you seen The Man in the Iron Mask?
No,
What?
no,
That's crazy. With Leo, where he plays the two characters,
no.
King Louis. Okay, well,
Uh-huh.
you got to check that out. It's based
Man in
on
the
the
Iron Mask.
yeah, it's based on the Three Musketeers.
You are not doing a good job selling this.
It's written
Um,
by Alexander Dumas, the
okay,
black
all
guy
right,
from
all right. We're
France.
getting warmer.
Yeah,
Man in the Iron Mask.
yeah. So he plays one of the Musketeers who helps uh King Louis's brother overtake him to save the kingdom because King Louis is a world class D-bag. Um, oh, I also think that John Turturro is another great character actor. He's just great in everything. It's weird he's not a movie star. I mean, I get why he's not a movie star. He looks kind of eccentric, but he's just great in everything.
Did you
And
see him in The Night of on HBO?
the night of, I don't know, what's that about?
Kid catches a case, wakes up,
Yeah.
takes the girl home. They do
Oh
what grown-ups
no.
do.
Yeah.
He wakes up, she's dead. John Turturro is his lawyer that plays his
Okay.
defense attorney.
Let me see. This new or old?
5 years old, maybe 2019, 2020. It's
No, I haven't
good.
seen that. I haven't seen that.
It's one of those 8 episode shows that probably should have just been a
Oh,
movie.
okay. Okay, cool.
But it's good. I
I'll
enjoyed
check
it.
that out.
So
See what it's on.
the kid goes, and we're way off topic now, but the kid goes to Rikers, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like you get to see him become institutionalized, and he didn't end up doing it. So, anyways,
Okay.
you got anything else?
Let me go back to my notes here. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Of course, one of my favorite scenes is when he reveals the tell to Teddy,
Yeah,
KGB, and then he throws cookies at at Grandma.
something you should never do.
Yeah, you should never do that.
It only makes sense if he to do that if you know this
You
is like
got
your
him.
last ride. But if you
Yeah,
plan on playing poker again, why would you never tell someone their tell? That's for
yeah,
movie. That was when I knew I was watching a movie.
true.
Um, so what do you rate it?
Um, it's one of my favorite movies. So I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars.
I'm going 5, man. Is it a 5 as far as like technical precision? Would it ever win any
Right.
awards? No, but it's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah,
I, you know, I could watch it 1,000 times. 1,001 would still be great. And
100%.
I'm gonna go a sentimental 5 on it. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah, I
given
feel you.
two fives, and we're doing this. I've given Goodfellas a 5. I'm giving this one a 5. They will be few and far between, but this one, Goodfellas, is a technical masterpiece. This is not that,
Correct.
but
Yeah,
this is near and dear to my heart. The subject matter is great. It's great pacing, great movie.
yeah. I think that's the only
Loved
reason
it.
I didn't give it a five. I didn't want to be too liberal with my fives. But yeah, yeah, acting is great. Matt Damon is one of my favorite actors. Um, Ed Norton is in just a lot of movies that I love. Um, the score was great. I loved that I actually think it kind of helped that the cinematography wasn't like super incredible because it's supposed to be gritty and kind of grimy,
I
which
agree.
fits the theme of the movie. And I just like the overarching themes of the movie in terms of just like, catering to, it's almost like the Ballad of the Dreamer in a sense, like the way
Yeah.
it caters to people who pursue things that are not conventional careers and kind of the societal, um, the way it bucks societal mores. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
yeah, in terms of just like, oh, if it's not like engineering or teaching or firefighting or whatever, then it's not to be respected type shit. Which of course those are professions should be respected, but anything that someone's making money doing an honest living, it to me is to be respected.
It's
So
funny.
yeah,
It's I can tell you identify the most with Mike in the movie.
yeah,
And I identify the most with Kanish, and that explains
yeah.
our entire dynamic. Right there, right there. Because no, I'm not going to Vegas. I'm going to grind out this one big bet at a time, and I'm fine. Like my life is good. Not swinging for the fences. I'm not gambling in my whole net worth against a fucking Russian mobster.
No,
Uh,
100%. Yeah.
Terrible idea.
It's like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. D's all over your area on all socials.
I'm Jordan, Jordy B. Writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe on all feeds. If you want to reach out, we are at Moviegoers Pod on all social medias. Just PD on Twitter, Moviegoers PD on Twitter.
For any movie recommendations, feedback, comments, etc., email us at moviegoerspod@gmail.com. And that's a wrap. Thanks for coming to the movies with us.